Today I'm going to just quickly show you how to pick up and knit the sleeves on a top-down garment without creating holes at the underarms. So this is the Fernwood Cardigan. It's knit from the top down, so from this neck edge down. It's got a deep V, and these markers they indicate where the neck shaping ends, and they'll be useful later when picking up the button band along this entire edge. I've also placed a removable marker in the fabric on the right side because the stitch pattern is reversible, and it can be really easy to lose track of the right and the wrong side. At this point, I'm ready to pick up and knit the live stitches of the second sleeve, and I just wanted to quickly demonstrate how to avoid gaping holes at the underarms. I've used this method over on this first sleeve, and as you can see, it's pretty seamless. So I've already transferred my live stitches onto a long needle. I prefer the magic loop method versus using DPNs, double pointed needles. And my preference is to use a 40-inch length cable to magic loop these sleeves because they are quite large in circumference, and I find that this halfway point here gets a little bit lost. If you're using a 32 or a shorter than a 40-inch cable. So the first step after you've picked up all these live stitches and replaced them to a needle is to pick up 8 stitches, or however many stitches it says in pattern. For myself it's 8, along this underarm edge. So in my first round, it wants me to purl 1, knit 1, all the way around. So if we were to just dive straight into purling this first stitch, you can see that this leaves quite a big hole in your work. So to avoid this, what I will sometimes do is choose a stitch below, just any loop, to place on my needle to work with the first stitch of the sleeve. So we'll purl those two together, and then I always stop and I check, because depending on which loop you pick up, you can sometimes create a bigger hole or still a visible hole, and this looks pretty good to me. So I'm going to work around to the other side. So now we've reached our last stitch, and you can see that if I just knit this stitch and carried on, let me just adjust my little magic loop here. You always want your split to be where that stitch marker is for the midway point of the underarm. So I've just knit that last stitch of the sleeve stitches that were put on hold, and I'm gonna jump into a purl here. And sorry, this is a bit loose because that's our tail, but you can see quite a big hole there. So instead, just undo that. What I like to do is I'll just unknit that quickly. What you'll need to do, this is slightly different from the beginning because you're going to need to pull from a stitch that's beyond this last stitch that you haven't worked yet. So I just slip that guy onto the right hand needle while I'm deciding what loop to pick up. I'll just see how this one goes, and I'll place that stitch back onto the left hand needle, and we'll knit those two together, and that looks pretty good to me. So let's carry on, remembering that this is that's the tail. Pull that tight because that will get woven in at the end, and will look more like that. So where are we? Purl, knit, purl, knit, purl, knit. Oops. So if we pull that guy tight, you can see that looks pretty good. And that's it.